What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are yet again talking about LTCN and BCHG at the request of Dialogue, Kayaker, Sabir, and Kao Long, with a specific request in when to sell and when to buy. And none of this is financial advice. As far as when to sell and when to buy goes, that should be a personal decision. Absolutely, it should. All of this is my opinions, but we can get into that. My last video that I made, Kao Long, which you commented on, actually, I feel like I was very, pretty specific as to where I think a good area to buy was for both of these assets. But we can go over it again, as I do in almost every single video. If I was to buy these, where I would buy these, kind of thing. Looking at LTCN, it's doing its thing right now. It's a good time to buy now, guys. It's going to go to the roof. And no, I'm just kidding. Maybe it is a good time to buy now. Absolutely. You're down from 1880 here, and now you're at 1127. Relatively speaking, it's not a bad opportunity to buy, but I do think that you have lower to go. In fact, right now what you've got is this kind of like resistance area that you closed at right now. You're at the 50 on your RSI. You could reject from here. It's a very classic setup, and see some more downside immediately. And I do think you will. I don't think that that's the low for LTCN. I think that it has more to go. Come on now, where are we at? There we go. From this low to this high, you bounce not even off your 382, and to be fair, that's kind of a bullish look. But here you are at your 236 finding resistance. I would be curious to see what happens. If you reject from here, it's a telltale sign that you probably will not only go to your 382 but below it. I kind of do expect that you'll find support around this $6.15 area, maybe potentially even below $5. I'm not banking on this so much, but I do think that we will see prices below $7. I'm very positive we will see prices below $8, and there is a possibility, absolutely there's a possibility, that we could find support right here at about $7 on the dot. There's even like wicks back over here at about, what is that, 738, so we could do that as well. Let's see. Looking at the weekly RSI. It's a very strong looking RSI, man. It could go lower and still look pretty strong. So if the RSI goes down, price is going down. It's just hand in hand. Daily here, yes, we went up a little bit today, up 7%. Again, kind of a double top look at the moment. There is potential to come back down, form a higher low, kind of get this ascending triangle look going on, where you have these ascending highs and you have a flat base here, and then you could break it to the upside. But that move in itself still wouldn't be impressive, because you'd still have like a high here, a lower high here, and it would probably just generate a lower high yet again. So it might be some time before LTCN moves down again. It could be starting tomorrow, but I would assume at some point, either in like mid to late February, if not early March, we will find the low for LTCN. That's my genuine opinion. And just because we find the low doesn't mean that it's time to move up immediately. It could, but it doesn't mean that it is. In fact, whenever we found the low the first time here, and this is different circumstances entirely because it's the bear market, but when we found the low here, it was in June of 2022. LTCN didn't truthfully start moving up until January of 2023, a whole half a year later. So, and then here, let's see, you went up, you found your low, you didn't really start moving up until about November, and you found your low in August. So it can take several months even after you find your low to move up. Though you could move up immediately. That's always a possibility as well. But don't mistake my saying that the price will likely find its low in the middle of February. Between then to the beginning of March, that's my genuine opinion, my prediction. That doesn't mean that it's going to start going up immediately from there, right? That's all I'm trying to say. So, looking at the daily, just real quick, one more time. Yeah, I don't know, man. I kind of think you turn around from here, though. If you do go up, don't get too excited. The 1 hour does look pretty strong, not going to lie. That looks pretty strong, but you're rejecting your overbought zone. That's not a sign of strength. Like, get above it. You should have done it already. You had one pass here, two passes here. Like, why the hesitation? What's going on? Looks like you're finding resistance. You probably, at the least, would come back to about $10 before making a move up higher, but you might just continue to move down from here, honestly. Yeah, I don't know. As far as when to sell goes, I don't know. None of this is financial advice, but as far as when to sell goes, my genuine opinion is that from top to bottom here, all-time high to all-time low on this chart, I wouldn't think about selling until probably above $1,000. I personally probably would be patient enough to wait till $2,200. I think that is probably where you're going to go. It could go all the way up to 15,000. Absolutely, it's possible. I know it sounds crazy, but absolutely it could. Somewhere in between these, this is the expected range for fib extensions, the 1272 to the 1618. But I don't know. As far as like when to sell, I would say wait a year. Wait a year from now, probably in 2025. That's when it will be time to sell. Probably for the trusts, maybe closer to like the halfway point of that year, or maybe like early Q2, something like that. But we're a ways away from that. And as far as what the price is, I don't know. If it is June of 2025 and LTCN is only right here, it's regardless of what these say, man, it's probably time to sell. Like if it's that late in the markets and we haven't seen new all-time highs, it's still probably time to sell. You have to be on it. You have to be with it. You have to be open-minded enough to accept that the expectations you were looking for don't happen. And that's the thing, is everything I talk about as far as the price is going to, I do expect that to happen. But just because I expect it to happen doesn't mean anything, right? Anything can happen. The price doesn't care what I think, what my expectations are. That's not how this works. So could LTCN, with how bullish it looks now, could it see a lower high? It's possible. And if you don't think it's possible, then you're going to be waiting. It's going to be June of 2025, and it'll be here, and you're going to be like, well, it's got to go higher. C-Zar said it would go higher. We're all expecting the minimum fib extensions are all the way up here. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. Just because, yes, it would make sense to, doesn't mean it has to. So as far as when it goes, not like where it goes, right? Because where the price is might be a little bit different than when the price is. Where the price is, I don't know. I don't know where the price will be for a good time to sell. But when, probably toward the end of the cycle, probably before the end of the cycle, basing off of where the tops were last time. So I would say maybe a quarter of a year to half a year, maybe even 3/4 of a year before we see the top, which when is that kind of expected to be? That would, the top is expected to be at the end of 2025, the middle to the end, somewhere in there. So I would say early 2025 to mid 2025 is probably when would be a good time to sell, regardless of what the price is. So if it's mid 2025 or early 2025 and the price still hasn't seen new all-time highs, that could be a bit of a warning sign that it might not see those prices up above $1,000, up above $2,000. But I very much do expect that to happen. Just be open-minded enough to prepare to sell. Even if you're in the green, you're still in the green. You still have gains, but it's just not as much gains you were looking for. Don't let that turn into a loss because you're too stubborn to let things go. Not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but I've been there before. It's not a fun place to be when you could have taken profits, but you have this number in your head that you think, oh no, it's going to go there, but then you end up being in the red, and it's like, man, I would have been happy with it with a 10x, a 5x, or whatever. I was hoping for a 100x, but I would have been happy with that. Now I have a loss, you know what I mean? So don't put yourself in that position. I don't know. That's really all I got to say about LTCN. So let's move on to BCHG here. I'll try to keep this one a little bit quicker. Looking at BCHG, nothing new really, right? This week it's up 6%. Yesterday it was up 13, 14%, and today it's up 0.5%, so nice. Not really doing anything. You're kind of at that 50 area as well. Could reject from here. You found support right above this 50 a couple times actually, and you're right there now. You could find resistance here. So I do think BCHG wants to go lower as well. As far as when is a good time to buy, I don't know. It's a personal decision. It could be a good time to buy here. If you buy here and you wait a year, it's probably going to do great for you. If you wait a couple months or like a month and a half or a month, it'll probably be at lower prices, and that might be a better time to buy too. But maybe it doesn't. Maybe it just goes up from here. Looking at this price action for what it is, it kind of looks like it's bottoming at an area that would make sense with this trend up. I don't think it's done going lower yet. I absolutely don't. The RSI is weaker here now than it really was throughout any of this going up. So I think it's going to promote different kind of reactions. Like this move down is different than any of these moves down here, right? So I do think that you got lower to go, at least to that green line, which is below 240, right? At least to the green line. Assuming days come, more days come, it'll probably be below 240 by the time you get there. But I think that you're going to go to this green line on the weekly. I think you're going to go to about just below $2 there, in between $1.50 to $2, probably around $1.70. $1.78 right there. That's the 382. You probably go a little bit below that. There is the possibility to go to the 618 or the 69, but I don't think you do. I don't think you take that low out. I do think that you go a little bit below that 382, and then from there we could talk about you going up. As far as when that happens, I don't know. I think it will happen before the halving, but that doesn't mean that just because you found your low, again, that doesn't mean that it's time to go up. It could, but it doesn't mean that it is time to go up. And as far as when to sell, I would say the same thing for Litecoin, LTCN. When to sell is a better question than where to sell, right? And you asked when to sell, so I will say probably toward the end of the cycle, which the end of the cycle is expected to be, and this can be wrong too, in the middle to the end of 2025. So I would probably assume 3 months or more before then, giving it, the first half of the year rather than the second half of the year in 2025 is likely when the cycle for BCHG and LTCN would come to an end. But that's all I got for you guys. If you liked the video, hit that like button, subscribe to see more. I hope that all made sense, and yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.